Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Shenanigan Chef, where we are still being filmed in front of a live studio audience. Well, live-ish. Do arm stands count as alive? I mean, they're entities, just like Fredrickson. Yeah, I could give them, glowing and stuff. What is the difference between alive and dead? Anyways, more importantly, let's get straight into the trolls. I don't think we need to beat around the bush. Actually, hang on, I should probably explain. If you are new to this series and this is the first one you're watching, then this is a show where we do trolls. You know, the usual little tutorials showing you how to do stuff. However, instead of all the survival ones, these are some command block ones. So you can get real crazy with them. And let's start with a real crazy one. Alright? You guys agree, something really funny, just objectively, is really long hallways for no reason. Or really creepy. Either or. I'm about to show you guys how to generate something infinitely that just goes in a straight line forever. So we're gonna make a nice little hallway wall here. Let's use a bit of birch. People always give birch so much, smack. Honestly, it's not even that bad. Birch is a solid wood. It has its uses. And obviously, what I'm doing here, you don't have to copy this whatsoever. This is all just design choice. The actual command can be applied to literally anything. Now, the actual command can be quite finicky. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take a spot in the actual floor here-ish, vaguely in the corner of whatever you're doing. Actually, no, yeah, let's take the actual corner. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to do /clone. You're going to do squiggly, 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 squiggly. And also, by the way, I don't think I ever explained it, and no one explained it to me, so I had to figure out the hard way. When you do a command block that requires commands and you do squigglies, that just means it does it from wherever the thing executing the command is. So if I were to do setblock, squiggly, 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 acacia log, it'll just do that. And if I were to do execute at E type equals horse run setblock squiggly acacia fence, that means that every single horse there is now an acacia fence there, which is why squigglies are very nice for stuff like this. And also how we're going to make this infinitely generate, because effectively if we use the squigglies, that means no matter where this is, it'll still be able to work. Because normally, if you were going to clone something, you could just, you can't type in the coordinates of the next row. So effectively what we're going to do is we're going to clone something so many times in a straight line and create a command block that instantly clones the next one and deletes itself. So that way, it is effectively just pushing a constant train down. And will go on forever. And this is the tricky part, because you got to figure out the exact dimensions. Make sure to be very careful when testing this before you actually put the commands into place. And make sure you're executing the /clone tests before you're actually trying to do the thing. It's helpful if you look at the XYZ by pressing F3. It's right there. I'm going to put a red circle around it. If you can check which direction each one is going. So I can tell that the Z coordinate goes down when I go this way. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means on the Z coordinate, what am I doing? That means I can do this is from my corner, and then it's going to be -4. And it's also going to be -1 here, because that's the Y coordinate, and I can tell it's going down 1. And I believe That goes up 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're already 1 block above, so that's just going to be 3. And then going this way, it adds 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that means it's going to be just like this. And I believe it should go something like, if you go in this direction, then it should... Alright. Well, we got an error message saying that the source and destination areas cannot overlap, which just means the place where we were gonna put it is in the way. I don't know where it's trying to, but you can just keep increasing the number until it lets you. Aha! And we actually got it right first try. So effectively, if you were to put that in a command block that was always active, you would just create an impulse one, to be more specific. It would just run forever. Actually, for extra funsies, let's throw this in the middle, and then a redstone torch, which will also be copied forever. And the reason I also have 2 spots here is so that I can make the command blocks delete themselves. This is a good time to also explain how chain command blocks work. Because I know I had no idea how these little doohickeys work, because this looks like some weird mumbo-jumbo. Effectively, this has to do with the arrows on the edges of command blocks. So, if you were to have a command block activate, pointing towards a chain command block that is also active, the chain command block will activate immediately after this one. However, it won't activate if it's not activated by a separate one, if that makes any sense. So if I were to just run something in the chain command block, it just wouldn't work. However, if I were to run something through this command block, then this one would also activate. So it's a good way to, like, glue 80 command blocks together really fast, so you don't have to have some big redstone mechanism or whatever. So effectively, we're gonna just... That's the polished blackstone thing from the last episode. That's what that was. So we're gonna put that in there, and we're gonna leave that as needs redstone for now, because we don't want it to instantly do that. And then in this one, we're gonna want to do fill, squiggly, 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 -1, because we want this command block and the bottom one to also be deleted, and replace that with birch planks. So effectively, what this will do is the second I turn this into always active, it will clone this entire, like, cube right here and plop it down right here, along with the command blocks that are always active. So immediately, they will do the same thing again and spawn another thing right here, and again until it goes on forever. And let's see if I'm not stupid. Look at that. Make sure you are very careful with this, because when I say it is infinite, I mean, like, I'm not joking. This does go on forever. I can go into spectator mode and go really fast. As long as chunks are loading, it will continue. It's like a really long train. Look, you can see it going. You can have a road just constantly going out into the middle of nowhere. You do have to be very careful, because it will bulldoze through anything in its way. So I believe there is a way to, like, mask it. Look, there's other villages, too. I remember one time I did something really dangerous, and I made one that spreads out in 4 directions. Now, I'm not going to demonstrate that, because that's very dangerous and also extremely tricky. However, effectively, what I did was... Hang on, give me a second to get back to the kitchen. What I effectively did was I created 4 separate of these machines, and I made each one of them spawn 2 more in each direction. So effectively, what this would do is when they continue on infinitely, they would create the next layer, and the next layer, and the next layer, and the next layer, and it would go on like that forever. And what I also had it doing was I attached more command blocks on it so that after every creation, it would fill out the entire sky and fill the entire ground with a certain block. It was acacia planks. So that way, I just effectively created another super flat world in a creative server off in the middle of nowhere, so that it would never reach our actual base because none of the chunks in the middle were loaded. It was incredibly laggy. However, it worked and was pretty cool. So, do with that information as you will. If you guys want to do that, make sure to be very, very, very far away from anything you find important, because it will destroy the entire thing. That was a pretty long one, but I think that's a very good prank to have just in backlogs, or just something to know. Because I've had it a few times where I've just had like a room in my house that's just really long. Because it is pretty funny, to be fair. And actually, we can use this for the next troll I have in mind. Let me clear my inventory real quick. Alright, so the next one isn't an actual infinite hallway. It's the illusion of an infinite hallway, which is much more manageable and much less horrifying. So effectively, what we're going to do, it is very useful to give whoever is running through this hallway blindness so that they can't see very well. Look, I can't see smack. Effectively, what we're doing is we're making a command block that teleports everyone who gets too close a few blocks back. Oh wait, hang on. We need to run execute at E. I'm doing at E because I wanted to target all entities and not just me. But if you want it to be person specific, be my guest. Let's say 4, because I believe the other direction, that is the opposite direction. It does usually require some fine-tuning. Like, yeah, no, I think that's just barely too much. Little too much. 2.5. Or just 2. That is not nearly enough. Maybe it wasn't enough to begin with. Oh yeah, no, that wasn't enough to begin with. I'm stupid. Oh yeah, look at that. If I were to patch this up, you would just straight up not be able to tell. It looks like I'm just walking through a really long hallway, but realistically, if you look at my things, you can see, if you look at my Z coordinate, you can see every time I hit 150, I just jump back to 155. I'm not actually moving. I'm just walking in a straight line. Or I'm just getting teleported back every like 5 blocks. Look, you can see faintly me getting teleported back. You can see the edge of the tunnel. You can use that to amazing effect in some places. There it is. That one's a little more finicky. However, if you can figure out a good way to use it, or if you want to make a really annoying maze, be my guest. It's a good way to make really long hallways that just aren't long at all. Pretty funny. As opposed to making a hallway that is truly infinite. And alright, even my brain hurts a little after trying to explain that one. So next up, we're going to have a nice and simple one. This one is extremely customizable. You can do it with whatever you want. I think I mentioned it in the first episode. However, you can just run execute at A, or just your friend's name or whatever. If block, please, so where they are standing, or the block underneath them, if you're feeling spicy, Or, if for whatever reason you want it to be the block above them, or the block to the right of them, or whatever. And let's say dandelion, run, kill this specific person. And what this will do is... Ooh, I'm down here now. It's so simple that, you know, you don't even need like a... It just works. You can set that to any block you want. I like to call it just being really hyperallergenic. Like, oh no, you're just allergic to stuff. And if you want, you don't even need to make it a block. You can do if entity addy type equals pig distance equals 1.2 or 1. And then if I go and touch a pig, I also die. That's one of my favorites. I made one of my friends allergic to dandelions for the longest time, and he had no idea how I was doing it. That one's an absolute classic. You can never go wrong with that one. Alright, and this next one is really simple. However, you can do a lot of stuff with it as well. A lot of these are kind of like that. Simple, you can customize them however you want. This one has to do with also Fredrickson's house. I'm sorry, Fredrickson. I know, we haven't been bullying your house at all this episode, so we'll get you some irritation. So in his house, evidently, pretty nice, right? There's no evident things. So under his carpet, we are going to put this command block, and we're going to do execute unless entity whoever at a brackets name equals whoever their name is, let's just say Ugly Rocks, distance equals 30, let's say. So effectively, this command block will only run if your friend who owns the house is nowhere nearby. So effectively, what you can do is you can make anything just be in their house whenever they leave. Alright, and look. See, it's not doing anything. However, the second I get 30 blocks away, Fredrickson is going to invite a whole bunch of friends over. Oh. You know, I forgot about the cage. They're all just getting sucked in. Dude, they're having a party. However, I think you guys get the gist. You can fill certain blocks to make like a tiny structure. You can just spawn a whole bunch of stuff in their house every time they leave. You can do whatever you want in there. And I think to end off this episode, we are going to simply... Alright. And that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you all have a nice rest of your day, and see you for the next one. Bye-bye.